Hey everyone, I'm King of Valence. Thanks for watching the Spore Speedrun Challenge. Today we'll be allying the Grox Empire from Cell Stage in 55 minutes and 4 seconds. I want to give a huge thank you to Andrey for suggesting this speedrun in the comments. I learned so much about the Grox, not only how to ally the Grox for the research for this run, but I also found out how to trade with the Grox, how to play as the Grox in Creature Stage, so this turned out to be much more fun and much more interesting than I originally thought, so thank you so much for suggesting this. Although we're only in Cell Stage, our actions here still will have great consequences throughout the run, so I'm going to give a quick overview on our general strategy of how we're going to ally the Grox. So in a typical speedrun, the archetype we become doesn't really matter, but for allying the Grox, we want to become a Zealot, so we have the Fanatical Frenzy ability, so we can take over star systems, and that will actually have the Grox like us more from breaking the galactic code. So in order to become a Zealot, we need 2 red and 2 green outcomes. For red, we're going to have Carnivore and Aggressive out of Creature Stage, and then we'll be Social and Religious for the green results out of Travel Stage and Civ. This is compared to like a typical just reach the center of the galaxy speedrun where we would have 2 blue results and 2 green results. We would be Omnivore out of Cell and Adaptable out of Creature Stage, still with the Social and Religious out of Civ. So this shows how it varies just slightly from the typical speedrun, and we would modify it a little bit to ally the Grox. So hopefully this run will show that the Grox aren't so intimidating, and they're actually very easy to ally, so I'll do my best to present this in a very straightforward, procedural way to show how to ally the Grox quickly and easily. For my Cell here, I still made him Omnivore, but I will prioritize meat over the plants, so I can become a, quote, carnivore out of Cell. The game wants the majority of what we eat to be meat. That way we become a carnivore, even though our Cell's actual diet is an omnivore. This way the diet of the Cell can actually be different than the result of Cell Stage. So as long as we prioritize the meat and we have enough meat to become in the red zone of carnivore, we'll still be able to be an omnivore in Creature Stage and Travel Stage, yet we'll still get all the benefits from becoming carnivore. So in Cell Stage, there's only 2 parts that I really want to make sure we get. We want to make sure we get the cilia, those are kind of the big wings on the side of the creature that help us get fast turns, and we also want to get the jet ability. This is really actually more important for Creature Stage. We want to have at least 2 mobility parts going into Creature Stage. So as long as we have 2 mobility parts as we enter the timeline, before we enter the early creature editor, that way we'll guarantee we'll have all of the movement parts once we get into Creature Stage. Like if we played through the whole Cell Stage with only the flagella and we went into Creature Stage, we would be missing up to 2 feet and 2 hands. So we want to make sure we get all of the hands and feet because we want very specific ones to help our speedrunning go faster. So this would actually guarantee we would get all of the parts that we want, but we also want to make sure we get the jet so we have a little bit of sprint to make sure the beginning of Creature Stage is quick. So those are the 2 parts we want. The cilia and the jet, those are top priority. Everything else doesn't matter. That asteroid there is most likely a spit poison. Those ones are always pretty available because maybe the game values them as hard to actually kill the creature off so you can get their part, so they give it to you through the meteorites pretty often. So that's why I didn't bother getting that part, because I knew it would probably most likely be something I didn't want. Here we have to compete with the other cells for food, just gotta eat them quicker than the other ones. And we'll take advantage of any free-floating meat coming our way. And there's another asteroid over here. I just happened to swim over to this one because it was kind of in the way, and you saw, yeah, it was spit poison, so not necessary, but good to get anyway. So we can eat the plants because even though I'm trying to prioritize the meat, I wanted to make sure I got to the next level because I was in kind of a jam there. So eating the plants is okay as long as we don't eat too many of them to make sure we stay in the bottom zone for the carnivore. So meat's good. So this run's going pretty good for trying to be a carnivore route. And I believe I've had enough meat throughout this run where I can pretty safely eat more plants just to make sure I can get to the next level to speed this up. Got to the next level, and that maw was easy pickings, and we got 1 more maw, and that should do it for Cell Stage. Not too bad for trying to become a carnivore. I'll show the whole timeline at the end of the run, so you'll see what I mean by going down into the carnivore zone. So we add one set of legs, we hold control to rip off one joint segment to become arms and legs. We put on that jet that we unlocked earlier, so we have the cilia and the jet, so that's helpful for the beginning of creature stage. In all of these between loads, the timer automatically pauses. This is done automatically through live split to pause the timer during all the loads. So you'll see whenever the timer is paused, it's because there's a load's happening. To double check that we did become a carnivore out of cell, we have the Raging Roar ability in the center of the creature stage abilities. This was kind of hard to get, so that's why I'm kind of making a big deal out of it, to make sure you're going fast, yet also make sure we got the carnivore. So no matter what kind of speedrun we're doing, we always ally the first two nests. They always only have level 1 sing, so we can make sure we can match that. There's a nest nearby, but I see they're already spinning and becoming cocoons, so I was like, yeah, I'm about to go somewhere else. Lost a little bit of time having to run over here, but they're leveling up to level 1, so I know I'll be able to attack them once I come out of the editor again. These early creatures here, Spore calls these level 0 creatures, so I call them either level 0 or early creatures, and then they go level 1, 2, and 3 throughout creature stage, depending on the level on the progress bar. So here we're going to try to do our instant mate trick as soon as we're done allying this second nest. Trying to put the nest right in the corner so I could see the mate as I call the mate. It looks like they were too far away, so I have to reposition myself. So as long as you're looking away from the mate, you click the mate and then jump, that will skip the animation and instantly mate, just like this. And we go into the editor. So we're going to add all aggressive parts in the editor. We're going to add the level 2 charge, level 2 strike hands. We're going to put on a carnivore level 2 bite mouth. We're going to keep the filter feeder, we want to stay omnivore, that'd be more important for tribal stage. We're going to add the level 2 spit and the wings. We're not going to be any socializing parts. We're going to go full aggressive for creature stage, so we get that red result out of creature stage. Going to add a pack mate. And remember, these were the cocooning creatures, so they lost me time earlier, but they're going to make up for it and save me time now. So we're going to extinct this nest. We need to extinct 3 nests plus 1 creature in order to level up into level 2, the third block section on the progress bar. So remember, it goes level 0, 1, 2, and 3. So we need to eliminate 4 of these creatures before we can extinct them. I'll make sure to lower the volume here, because I know these fights are kinda loud, so I'll lower the volume for creature stage a little bit more than the rest of the game. Trying to back up there to make sure he didn't charge me, but he got me anyway. If you and another creature are both charging each other, they will always win, so using the spit on them while they're charging will confuse and stun them. So we're going to use the pause launch glitch. This is done by pausing the game, clicking on a creature that we can interact with. It can either be another creature, a pack creature, or a dead creature. Since we're an omnivore, we can click on the dead creature because we can eat it. And then we double tap space twice and then unpause. And then as soon as we fly over the creature, you want to hit escape to deselect the creature so our creature can continue to fly over the top of them. If the creature or whatever we've selected on the ground is still selected while we are flying over them, our creature will turn around and try to look back at the dead creature and not actually fly way past the creature. So hitting escape as we fly over is really important to get the big height and distance. So we got our second out of 3 that we need. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to So you see how it turned around slightly as we flew over? Because I didn't hit escape. Because I actually did this on purpose to make sure we didn't go too far so I could get right to this creature. So it's just kind of a feel for how far you think you're going to fly. But that's what happens if you don't hit escape as you fly over your interacting creature on the ground. So almost done here with this nest. After this bonus, we'll have 1 more creature we have to kill to move on to the next level. I want to make sure we're all the way in the next level before we call a mate so we can get another pack mate. So I'm hoping I was going to see a creature really quickly. Looks like I might have to explore a little bit, but these are always good to get some big distance to fly around and look for creatures. I see this guy has 19 health, so I'm going to charge this guy because I know he's an alpha. All the alphas, when you kill or socialize with them, they give you the next level parts. So I had to make sure we got all the upgrades we needed before we head back to the editor. See, like there, I didn't hit escape in time, and my character kind of turned around and didn't get the distance I wanted, so we can make up for that by jumping and hitting backspace at the same time. This will collimate and take away the cooldown for the wing flap, so you can continuously flap over and over and get more distance. This combined with the proper full distance can go pretty far. It's pretty cool. So looks like we got all the upgrades we needed. Got level 3 on all of our aggressive parts. Not gonna bother with the socialized parts because we still got sing, so all we're gonna do is join a pack mate. Hear the song, that means we're migrating. And then, so I jumped while we were adding the pack mate. That instantly fills my side of the progress bar of the Simon Says, since I had 2, myself and the pack mate, that filled over the progress bar to make that mate a little faster. So while you're socializing, if you jump, it'll speed up your side of the progress bar. So we're still going full aggressive here. So I see I got the Graspers, got the level 4 strike. So we're all getting all the parts we need. See another weapon. So I'm trying to pay close attention to all the weapons that I'm getting, so I can know I can upgrade properly. That's Spit 4. Because we want to make sure we at least get level 5 feet by the end of creature stage. Having level 5 feet for the level 5 speed is really important for tribal stage. If we're not upgrading our feet, we could stay all the way at level 2 speed, and that'll make tribal stage super slow, as it takes forever to walk anywhere. So thankfully we found these 2 really easy to eliminate nests right at the start. These nests started out neutral with us, which means they would like to socialize more. So they would give us a bigger benefit for socializing, a bigger bonus. But see, these creatures are already mad. That means they want to fight. So they'll give a bigger bonus for fighting. So we get 40 this time. And these guys are definitely better fighters. They are taking my health down. Thankfully I got the Raging Roar ability, so I can scare them off. We know they're scared because they have the little orange wiggles above their head. Notice this guy did not have the orange wiggles, so he was able to attack us still because he was out of the AoE range of our Raging Roar. So I want to make sure I eliminated this guy next while the other people were still afraid. But the asteroid's coming down now, so everyone's going to be running for their lives except for us, and we can easily dispatch the rest of these creatures. That's why it's good to kill off those easy nests that were neutral first, and then find the more aggressive creatures now that the asteroid always comes about this time. Down to 1 health, I'm trying to get out of the way. I got charged, so I was stunned. Dying is not only bad for you lose some time because you die, but the game's likely to crash when you die, so avoiding death there was very nice. So hopefully I can get this guy while he is away from his nest. Make it so it's 3-on-1. Since these guys were aggressive before we started attacking because they like the fighting, they will stay the 40-point extinction bonus after we level up. Typically, once you level up and you're a higher level than the creatures you're fighting, they give a smaller bonus per kill and per extinction bonus. So fighting aggressive creatures through the level up system is still beneficial, since we got 4 to 5 and we still have the 40 DNA to extinct them. If we leveled up there, we wouldn't have gone, and they weren't aggressive, we would have lost out on a lot of points. So I see level 3 creatures only has 3 attack. That's definitely a good sign. We're gonna try to extinct level 3 creatures because we want those upgraded feet, so we can get the level 5 feet. So we'll be heading there after this next editor. So we got lots of parts, but we're going to take the level 4 charging feet, level 4 strike, and we're going to upgrade to level 4 bite, and of course the level 4 spit. And we'll keep the wings the same, that doesn't matter too much. And we also get 3 pack mates. I heard the migration songs, that's always good. I want to make sure you hit that migration. It's about, see the little tick marks on the progress bar. So we're past the 4th kind of large tick mark past the level up. That's kind of my my eyeballing at range to know that we'll be far enough to trigger the migration. We can be into level 3, but not quite far enough to trigger the migration if we mate, so that will save a couple seconds by having to go back in the editor to trigger the migration after this nest if we hadn't been far enough. So I'm kind of looking around to make sure there's 7. I don't see 7, I only see 5, so it was kind of unfortunate that I definitely saw more than enough to extinct this nest as we were going, but on the way back it didn't seem to spawn that many, so I'm just going to cut my losses and leave. Fortunately missed out on that 40 DNA bonus for extincting them, but we'll find some other creatures that won't matter too much. See, these are aggressive creatures. I will most likely die, so I'm going to move on and try to find a different, easier nest. These guys are too low level, they look too small. And I click on these guys, I see the picture, so I know what kind of creature they are, even if they aren't loaded. Thankfully, her creatures can still fight when they're loading, so I knew what creature they were, and I knew these guys would be easy to kill, so just initiated the fight. And there should be plenty of creatures here for the 7 to get the full extinction. Yeah, I'm not in any danger of dying here. My creatures are making quick work of these guys. This is why in a typical speedrun we'd like the summon pack to help out speed this up a little bit. But for an Ally the Grox one, wanted to stay carnivore and aggressive. So we got the Raging Roar instead of the summon pack, but that's okay, we're making quick work of these guys, and we're super close, perhaps one more 7 out of 7 nest, and the migration bonus is also worth 50, so it's kind of a little buffer in case we're not quite there. Remember, the extinction bonus can sometimes put us over the top to finish creature stage. And these are an aggressive 7 out of 7 nests, but I hear the spaceship overhead and they'll also start panicking, so they won't fight back. Yeah, definitely the spaceship is here and they're panicking. One just got abducted, but there should still be 7. I saw a lot of them as I arrived. Trying just to keep track in my head how many there are. Oh yeah, there's plenty. I see they are sometimes not afraid and sometimes attacking. Their strike does a lot of damage, but I knew that the spaceship would eventually come over to our position. It seems like it tracks us, it follows us around. So we kind of saw the spaceship just fly overhead. Oh, yep, there's another one. Thankfully there's still another one. I've never seen the spaceship abduct more than 2, so I feel like I'm safe to get this guy for the 7 out of 7. Yeah, we're so close to finishing creature stage, but I wasn't worried because the migration bonus of 50 DNA will put us over the top. And that's the end of creature stage. Did it under an hour, and the only thing we need to upgrade is the level 5 feet. That will save a lot of time in treble stage due to the faster walking, so that could save up to like 30 seconds to a minute. Yeah, creature stage without dying achievement, that was close, 1 health. And again, another between level loads, so the timer automatically pauses. I believe that creature stage was about 12 minutes, pretty good for a no summon flock run. With summon flock, I'd expect maybe about 10 to 11 minutes. At the start of tribal stage, we're going to add level 3 gathering and level 3 social. They can always gather up to 5 fruit, but the gathering 3 allows them to get up to 8 because it adds 3 more. Gonna do a cool glitch here. We're going to buy a baby, and after it hatches, we're going to pause, go into settings, and change the graphics effects. Then this will reset the animation to lay another egg. And another one's born. We're going to change the graphics effects again, and that will reset the egg animation again and give us 2 free babies. We only had to pay for 1 to buy the first one, and the second 2 were free. We're going to do that again once we're able to upgrade our hut. So as long as the baby is hatched, we can actually see the baby, but before the egg hatching has faded away, we can pause the game and change the graphics effects, and that will reset the animation and give us another baby for free. Thank you to Peppermint Swirl in the comments for explaining that to me. That is a huge time saver and makes tribal stage so much more consistent and easy, and it's really beneficial. Thank you so much. And now we can already buy the wooden horns. The chieftain is always faster at gathering, so hopefully you can gather 2 at a time, but sometimes doesn't get back in time. If the cutscene for the next tribe plays before he arrives, for some reason they want to return to where they're gathering, and then they'll walk back, so I tried to make sure he stayed and didn't want to travel away too far. kind of a weird thing for a tribal stage, but this character AI isn't like, super great, so sometimes you have to kind of have to help them out a little bit. You need to send the chieftain and 2 wooden horns to the first tribe. That should be plenty on easy to ally them. And we're going to have all the remaining 3 tribal members still gather, because we still want a couple more fruit. And on easy, I'm not worried about a wild animal coming and stealing our food. On hard, they pretty much come immediately, but on easy, they give you about 30 seconds or so. So I know there's only wooden horns. They can only ask for what you have, so I'm spamming the 1 on my keyboard. That's how my mouse isn't actually clicking on the buttons at the bottom. So once it's over, you can click off of them, and then immediately click on, and we'll skip the 10 out of 10, you did it, little animation there. So for the next stage of tribal stage, we want to buy another baby, so we need 10 food to buy the 1 baby, then we get the 2 for free. Then we want to buy the next instrument. We see that tribe has the maracas. So that's 25, and we also want to give a gift, so that's another 10. So that's 10, 20, 45. So again, we're going to change graphics effects. Kind of checking out my competition. It's the baby hatches. Going to change graphics effects again. And we get another egg. So I'm going for green. That's the closest tribe, so I can just quickly get them. And then I'm going to get the next 2 tribe members to return are going to get the maracas. So we've already saved 40 food by getting 4 free babies. So that's making this go lickety-split here. The next 2 tribal members to return from gathering will get maracas, and then I'll send them to join the traveling band. I see this epic going by, and I'm glad the tribal chieftain got out of the way. Green's moving down. I always like when they're separated so they can't get the full amount to request all the instruments. This typically happens. The epic usually attacks the most aggressive tribes, so I'm trying to look at it to get that kind of scripted sequence going. A lot of Spore is you have to look at certain events for it to start. It won't really happen off screen. Once you initiate it, then it will happen just fine. But I'm also keeping it in screen just so I can keep an eye on it, and also to ally green here. In an individual level speedrun, on easy, the tribe that has the orange upset face usually has the same instruments that we already have. I was surprised for this tribe. In a full game must be different. You will always unlock what the tribe has in their buildings. So normally in individual level, green, since they were upset, would have had maracas, but I guess in a full game it's different. Actually, cyan was the one with the maracas. So I unlocked the didgeridoos and actually wasn't paying attention because of my normal expectations were that they wouldn't have them. So this will lose a little bit of time because they will ask for didgeridoos. But thankfully I got this one cyan guy by himself. So we can go around to look at all the other rival tribes and see what kind of buildings they have. That way we can choose the one that also only has the maracas, so when we ally them we won't unlock the 3rd instrument to make it go a little more smoothly. I'm trying to coordinate all my other characters to gather because I still need a little bit more food. 35 isn't quite enough to finish the stage. So I'm going to reset the traveling band. This saved time because this guy happened to walk closer towards us anyway, so not too big of a deal. So he'll always ask for what we have unlocked, so he's going to ask for the didgeridoos here. And I don't have didgeridoos, and I'm kind of confused. The wheels are turning in my head. I just now realized, I see now that I have unlocked the didgeridoos, and I go and check green, and yes, they did have the didgeridoos. So I'm just confirming with myself now that it is different than an individual level, and I should have paid more attention to the unlocks that the tribes have. So always the little details, you gotta remember them all. So not too bad. I got another tribal member just sitting there, so I gave him the didgeridoos. Thankfully had enough money so we could quickly and easily get this guy sorted. And he's all by himself, so 1 didgeridoo should be able to match his request, because as long as we can match the amount of requests, we'll be able to make the normal amount of progress. I really wanted those didgeridoos. He asked for 2 of them. I'm going to save the game here because I don't trust the game. It kind of crashes a lot on me, so in case it crashes, I want to save kind of recently. If it does crash, the amount of time I have to, the game quits and resetting the game does count for time, so at least I can save the amount of time in case it crashes, and I can get back to this point. It always seems to crash around this point for me, around tribes 4 and 5, so as this is just like kind of like a fun run, Ally the Grox run, I'm not too worried if it does crash. Thankfully it does not actually crash in this speedrun. But, you know, better safe than sorry. So the game does crash for me, just since these are the best of the runs, we don't normally see the crashes. So thankfully, purple here, or lavender, is nearby pink. Pink is the second to last. And then I'm going to pre-gift lavender now. I'm going to send one of the didgeridoos to go and gift lavender. So I have almost 2 of each. I'll have the 2 didgeridoos, the 2 maracas, I have 3 wooden horns. That should be plenty for this group at pink here. The chance for them asking for 3 of the maracas or didgeridoos too many times in a row is pretty unlikely. So I saw that the gift was placed, so I'm going to call back the didgeridoo guy to come back to our traveling band. Because if you just leave him alone, he'll walk all the way back to the home nest, so I don't want him to go that far. So I'm keeping him here so we can all travel back together at Lavender. The game would typically crash on me at the beginning or during these performances, so when I hear this song, it always makes me clench just a little bit, because knowing it could crash any moment. Thankfully it hasn't crashed in a while, so hopefully I'm on a good streak. And I'm seeing some lavender guys. These are the scouts to go and gather, so I'm going to take advantage of that after I save again, just in case it crashes. Saving does count for time, so that does take me an extra couple seconds, but made me feel more at ease. So that's worth it to me. Only 3 here is better, because they can ask for up to 4 instruments at a time, and if they ask for 4 maracas, that won't be very much progress. So having 3 each, always try to find the scouts, get them by themselves, because once you ally some of them, the whole tribe somehow knows. They all have the same radio. They'll let them know, yep, these guys, they impressed us, and they're allies now. I'm surprised so many scouts came over. There's 5 scouts here. We're pretty far away from Lavender. Typically 3 scouts go out, but I'm not too worried. Thankfully they asked for 3 didgeridoos, which we had, so we're able to convert all 5 tribes to our belief system, which means socialize. I'm just gonna pick any old hut. There's only Maxis buildings and creatures present in this speedrun. This is like a typical speedrun. So I'm gonna make my own fast vehicle with 45 speed. If you bring out a speedy piece and hold Alt and you click on it again, it will copy that piece. So I clicked on it 6 times to get the 45 speed. Here's the load. Yeah, and the load is the only Maxis creatures. So there's only Maxis creatures, buildings, everything is all default Maxis present in this speedrun. There's also no extra space assistance, so this would count as a typical new game style speedrun. This is to simulate someone's very first speedrun, very first playthrough of Spore. Like if you just bought the game, never did anything, you just started the game, this is to simulate that. You have no extra custom vehicles, no creatures, and you don't have any other space saves. So now I'm in Civ. This actually is legitimately my favorite stage, so once I'm here I'm a little more comfortable, because I know I'm also out of the crash potential. Sitting on my tanks and boats to claim as many spice geysers as possible. On easy, the game gives you about a minute grace period before spawning in any other cities, so I take this chance to claim everything before anyone else even arrives. Making a note of where the epics are. So I see this epic is kind of right on that borderline, but I know because of where the cities will spawn, that epic won't be an issue, because I know this will be the first city spawn. It's always the first city spawn if it is in that location. I know the other city spawns are at the top of the continent and on the far right side of the continent. So how the tanks are going to move around the continents, I know that epic will be avoided and it won't cause an issue. But sometimes the epics can be right in the way, so it's really important to make sure you're aware of where the epics are, because they're typically in the same general area, but they can wander and they can go right in the way, and they will shoot down the tanks, and we need 3 to 4 tanks to take over these cities. shooting down the tanks, so we only get 2, it won't allow us to take over the city, and we have to send more tanks, and it takes more time. So it's faster to go around any epics if you find them, take the extra 2 seconds to swerve, than having to send reinforcements at the city. I'll switch it back to my speedy tank. I'm playing it safe by sending 5 tanks to this city. Normally in a individual level speedrun, I'd only send 4, which is slightly more risky, and then I would send, because we have 8 available slots. See, in the planner we have 8 slots available. I would send 4 tanks to the 3rd city, and I would send 4 boats to the far continents. I'm going to send my 1 boat I got. But I'm going to wait for this city with 5 just to play it safe, to make sure I can conquer this city. Especially if they're military, they can really actually put up a fight. But I see the 4th one's arrived, and yeah, definitely got this. And now we have 10 available, so I'm going to go back to speed, and I'll have 6 total. Go to the final city, I'll have my 4 that I want, going to the far cities. 6 tanks, 4 boats. So see how the boats are going along the coastline here? I knew they would kind of hug the coastline because it would be closer, and that would avoid the epics. So I knew that was going to be the direction they were going to take. So now that they've arrived, I'm going to make them the high power religious tanks, so they could take over the city quickly, as the other boats are heading towards the far continents. As soon as they all arrive, I'm trying to get them all together. So all of the cities on my home continent are mine, so now I'm just waiting on the boats to take over. So this is kind of like the limiting factor right now. I'm entirely waiting on these boats to take over this city before moving on. That's why in an individual level speedrun, I want to send the boats as fast as I can, or as soon as I can, be more risky, so I'd have this one already good to go, so I could send the boats elsewhere and send the tanks on from this city onto the continent and rolling thunder my way through and take over the next couple cities. So we're gonna make everyone fast so they can get to their next destination quickly. And then I'm going to send more tanks. I like sending 6 tanks just to play it safe. This is all about making sure it just works, just goes to plan as fast as we can, but also as safely as I can. Showing that this is nice and consistent, no need to worry, everything should work out just fine. And 6 tanks is plenty, and that way I don't have to buy anymore. I can just, once they have the 6, you're usually safe to just send them to the next city. Boats are all done, so now I know I can eliminate all of the boats and send my next tanks. Those boats and those first set of tanks conquer at the same time, so I knew I could send everyone as speedy tank all at the same time. I want to make sure that they're all speedy when they want to be all at the same time, and then all high religious power all at the same time. Because you have to have all of them be the same. You can't have some on one continent be fast and some on another continent. The whole global tanks have to be the same. I probably could have switched them back to the high religious power tanks, but I saw it was quick, and we're finished with Civ. I want to make a quick note that Civ ended at 32 minutes and 33 seconds. And we are moving on into Space Stage. So let's take any old vehicle, so now we're going to space. So we're going to try to get to the Grox as quickly as possible, and then we're going to try to ally the Grox. Almost forgot what we were doing. We're still trying to ally the Grox. We're trying to get through the first stages as quickly as possible. So you can just refuse the captain mission, just said I already did that. And we have still have to do the first required mission. Galactic God. Complete everything in one continuous game. I always like to see the achievements every run. And there we go, play as a zealot. So that means we knew we got those 2 red results. We were carnivore, aggressive, and then we were social and religious. So we got the zealots, that means we got the fanatical frenzy ability. And that means we can take over other star systems quickly, and not only sell all their their buildings for money, but we can also make the Grox like us by breaking the galactic code. This mission is required, and for some reason, I guess for the game just to help you out and not let you get confused, it doesn't take any energy to go click back and forth here to reach Frequent Flyer 2, to buy the Interstellar Drive 2. We only need Interstellar Drive 2 to reach the Grox from here. You can go all the way up to Frequent Flyer 5 if you're more comfortable with that, but I'm going for the absolute minimum here so we can go as fast as possible. It takes about another minute or so to get all the way to Frequent Flyer 3. So that is our one required mission we have to do. We're going to go home. Next, they'll want us to place a colony, but I'm just going to ignore that mission. And we're going to go to our first empire, where we were going to buy the Interstellar Drive. If another empire sells the Interstellar Drive, it will be for cheaper than our home planet. We're going to establish one trade route. They'll always take the trade route because they are blue smiley face with us. This location of star system, like this empire here, will always be happy with us, and we will buy our Interstellar Drive 2. This location, this star system, will also always have a rare in it. The actual rare itself and the star system, like the planets and where they're located, are randomized, but for sure this system will have a rare in it. If you want, you can download my, as I say, galaxy files, so you can play with this yourself, so you can follow exactly along with what I do, so it's more predictable. But whatever galaxy you find, wherever you find a rare, it will typically be in the same spot. Some systems, I feel like they're 50-50, but some are 100%. Thankfully that one is a 100%, has never failed me, and works every time to have a rare in it. I'll put a guide in the description of how to install these galaxy files. These are different than the game files. This stores just the galaxy and your saved games, so you can get the same game as I do. So we find another empire. We're going to establish another trade route, and that will allow us to buy the energy packs, because that will give us the Trader 1. That rare sold for the least amount, 22,500, but that won't matter since we have another benefit of being carnivore out of cell stage is we get the Power Monger ability, which allows us to do 50% more jumps. So normally we get 20 jumps for our energy system here, but we get 30 jumps because of that Power Monger. We're showing on a typical run, I'm heading left there to get to the center of the galaxy, but I'm going to go straight ahead to get to my ideal place for the Grox. Checking my coordinates, I'm at 358 degrees. Spore uses a nice polar coordinate system to show where we are in the galaxy. It's different than the typical Cartesian coordinate system where you have an X and a Y distance from the origin or the center. Instead, a polar coordinate system, imagine an arrow pointing from the center of the galaxy, pointing in a circle, and that every point has a particular degree amount, and it increases as we go counterclockwise. So I'm trying to get to 43 degrees, 43.23 degrees at 2170.02 parsecs. I have my notepad with me. So the degrees will increase as we move counterclockwise until we hit 360 degrees, and then we'll reset back down to 0. And then we'll go to 43 degrees. So I'm slowly using up all my energy packs. I should have took the route slightly more to the right there. So you got 2 lanes of stars. I'm confused here as why I see so many empires. I'm actually in the Grox, so I'm trying to... I see more gears turning. I realize I'm in the Grox already, and I went not my exact way, but it won't matter too much. I'm going to contact the Grox right now, because if you don't contact them immediately, you'll get the -20 you avoided contact. So I want to make sure they didn't hate me immediately, because that would be a run killer. Because that would make them at war with us, and then we couldn't get them out of war, and the run would be over. So I'll take the extra second penalty for going the wrong way to talk to them to make sure the run kept going. I'm running out of fuel, but yeah, that's what our health is for. We're going to use some more health. I'm looking for my... Oh, there it is. That's the Grox I'm looking for. And that is the system we're going to use. We're going to Fanatical Frenzy, take over a non-Grox Empire first, but and the Grox have to be within 10 parsecs in order to realize that we use the Fanatical Frenzy for them to see that we actually used it. So I'm going to first use it on a non-Grox system so I can sell the buildings and get enough money to buy everything I need. And we also need to give the Grox 500,000 Spore Bucks for the +10 gifts. So we're going to immediately take over this system, sell their buildings, and immediately give all that money to the Grox. So this guy's entire evolutionary history still just benefited the Grox. I'm going to sell the buildings of 3 cities. Each city gives about 379,000 Spore Bucks each. So 3 cities is definitely overkill, but show you can get as much as you want. I'd say two cities is plenty, because we need 500,000 to give to the Grox, and we'll need some money for refueling, but 1.1 million that's plenty. So it's only 600 to refuel, and 54 more entry packs. It takes just a second to actually leave the planet. You have to wait for the whole Fanatical Frenzy animation to play out. And now we're trying to go try to ally the Grox. Everyone's mad at me that aren't the Grox because we broke the galactic code, but really all that did is reveal where they are. We're actually going to have to contact 10 other systems to unlock the fireworks for the Travel Run badge. So far, the relationship is -70 because they distrust strangers because they're the Grox. And then we already have a +10 for Gracious Greeter. That's a great benefit for being social out of tribal stage. So I'm going to try to do the first mission for the Grox, but I'm seeing what it is. They want me to scan all of the plants and animals of the planet Myron. But I see that planet Myron is actually the tier 3 planet of this system. So it's going to have a full set of stuff to scan. And I know that's going to take forever. So I'm going to completely trash that mission and try to get an easier one, because that mission is also after we scan something they want us to bring back a specimen. So if it's a planet with only maybe one or two plants and animals on it, we can just abduct them all and then we'll be able to retrieve them for that mission. But since I know that planet's going to have way too many to scan, it's going to take forever, so I'm going to get a different mission. I'm going to save and quit here, not for any crashes, but because if you save and quit and reload the game, that will actually reset the cooldown on the Fanatical Frenzy. So we're going to use the Fanatical Frenzy again. I was going to try to do an alternate between a Fanatical Frenzy and a mission, but since that mission was a dud, I'm going to do 2 Fanatical Frenzies in a row just to keep my procedure going. It's actually possible to use the Fanatical Frenzy on a Grox system, and they won't even care. Actually, they'll like you for it. There's no penalty for taking over one of our systems, claiming a planet. They only see it as breaking the galactic code, which they see as a benefit. So using a Fanatical Frenzy on the Grox is actually an option. But I'm using the Fanatical Frenzy on non-Grox systems right now, in case I need more money, which I won't need, but also because I need to contact 10 empires for for a contacting badge, for the Traveler 1 badge, which unlocks fireworks, so we can give the Grox friendly tools. So I'm going to go for another quest, going for another mission. Hopefully this one's easier. And I see this one is retrieve 1 red spice. Wait, that should be easy. I was kind of surprised I hadn't picked up a red spice yet. But that was the planet we Fanatical Frenzied, so that's making lots of spice for us, so all we need is to give them 1 red spice, and they'll give us money for it. It's probably the most valuable red spice. 125,000 Spore Bucks for that red spice. That's the best deal I've ever seen. And we can get a mission per planet. Once you do a mission, it takes a while for them to want to give you another one, but every planet will have its own mission. So now we have to find an animal from Daikin from the Cyanea system. I'm terrible at reading this, but I'm looking for it. I now realize that the system it's just right above us. It's right under the ring, and it was blending in and I didn't see it at the time. So it's taking a second to try to find the system, but now you can see it a little more clearly. It's still above us. It was being hidden by the orange ring, and now I see it now. Now I'm going to it. when you're in the moment, it always feels like it takes way longer than it is. It's always way harder to see where everything is when you're in the moment, when you're just watching, you know. I feel like an idiot. So the Grox actually followed me in here, so I'm going to try to travel away so I can pick up a creature and not get shot down. I'm going to pause so I can rotate a little bit. I only need one creature. That creature can fall back down. So I'm pausing whenever I'm trying to rotate so I can quickly go from system to system, and they can't really shoot me down. Also, another benefit of being the aggressive out of creature stage is we get more health than normal, so we're able to survive the Grox more easily. So now I'm going to give them their 500,000. Each 100,000 counts for +2, and we'll cap at +10. There's our +10. So each mission counts for about +7, and then each Fanatical Frenzy counts for about +14. The Fanatical Frenzy caps out at 50, and the missions also cap out at 50. So we want to do, so we get 14, 28, 42, and then it'll cap at 50. So that's 4 Fanatical Frenzies we can do. And then we'll also do 3 or 4 missions to play it safe. So we're going to save and quit again to reset our Fanatical Frenzy. These loads in and out of the game are still counted as loads, so it still pauses. Because theoretically those would be instant if we had the fastest computer in existence, so depending on your computer those might take longer, so it's unfair to count all the loads, so this doesn't even count as gameplay, so we'll just not count them. So this is our third Fanatical Frenzy. So there's the Traveler badge. I have 6 out of 10 so far. I need to contact 4 different empires. The Traveler 2 badge will unlock the fireworks for us. Oh yes, the Traveler 1 badge unlocks after seeing 3 empires, and then the Traveler 2 badge unlocks with 10 empires. So I'm going back for some more missions. So it's just kind of going in and out of the Grox systems to acquire more missions, and hopefully they are easy and quick. It looks like this mission is eliminate infected citizens on planet Turia in the Margaro system. Thankfully this one's fast because it gives us a pointer right where we need to go. And one of my practice runs going into one of these tier 3 planets crashed the game, so I'm going to save just in case. Crashes still happen, but thankfully it didn't crash. Infected citizens, there's 1 per city, so as soon as I see one, that's the one with the yellow glow around them, I can head off to a different city and try to find the next one. Maybe use a little mini-map to show where the next one is. I see the next one. I'm trying to be careful not to zap the non-infected citizens. I believe if you kill too many non-infected ones, you can fail the mission, and then, of course, the Grox will hate that we failed the mission, and then that's practically war, and that's the end of the run. So, being a little careful to get the right citizens. So almost there. I'm trying to do the math really quickly in my head. Gears are still turning, so I know I have 1 more Fanatical Frenzy to do. And I saw it was +22 for the missions, and they're usually +7, so seeing +22 was making it hard to do math really quickly in my head. So I was expecting 21, so I could add 7 for 28. So I'm looking for 1 more system to use the Fanatical Frenzy on, because that also counts as contacting Empire when I'm doing the Fanatical Frenzy on them. But I couldn't find another non-Grox system, so I'll just use Fanatical Frenzy on the Grox. And that will get us all 4 of the Fanatical Frenzies, so we can get the +50. And then I believe we'll have to do 1 more mission in order to get them the boost smiley face. The goal is basically to rush rush as fast as possible to getting them blue smiley faces so we can use a trade route with them, because the trade route will give us plus 30 as well, but they won't accept the trade route until they are blue smiley face. So we just use the Fanatical Frenzy on the Grox, but they won't care. They'll actually only benefit us. It's a very strange planet. It doesn't even have like a typical Grox city on it when it's these kind of watery planets, and they never have any buildings in it. As soon as I zoom out, I'm going to repair again because they're still shooting me. I'm gonna go look for one more mission. So I'm at 27, so I know one more mission will get me up to the blue smiley face and the plus 30. But I remember I just contacted these guys for a mission, so I have to find a different system so I can get another mission from them. One more mission should do it. Got the Explore 1 badge in the way. I gotta click around that. I can't contact the Grox until it's out of the way, so I'm getting shot down while this is saying, congratulations, you're going to lock something. I'm like, nah, get out of the way. Gotta contact the Grox, they're shooting me down, you gotta repair. So this next one is not telling me the system it's from. It's only telling me the planet, but I know it's within the 2 rings, so I actually have to go into the system to see what the planets are. So that's going to take a little bit of time, but I know it's on planet Cerns, so Cerns is not here. So it's... gotta find a different one, so this one's within the ring, no Cerns, no Cerns. Also no Cerns, I see one more system. Hoping not to make a repeat of the last one where it took forever to find it. There's Cerns, okay. So hoping to get easy, quick missions for the speedrun, but just gotta do whatever random task they want us to do. This one's pretty easy, you just gotta pick up something and deliver it to them. Sometimes they want us to like pick up 3 things and then deliver it somewhere else. If I got that kind of mission, I would have trashed that mission too and got a different one. As long as you go, you can click the 3 dots and click the trash bin as I did before, and they won't even know you got rid of the mission. So now they are blue smiley faces, and now I can get trade route with them. I already established the 2 trade routes earlier from those first 2 empires to unlock the energy packs, so I have 3 trade routes remaining, so I'm going to give all 3 trade routes to the Grox. I believe that speeds it up, but once I establish all 3 trade routes, it's practically an auto-scroller at this point. It would take about 4.5 minutes for the plus 30 from the trade route to actually go into to benefit our relationship with the Grox. So at this point, I'm kind of breathing a sigh of relief because I know it's practically on a timer, but I know I'm only at 34, plus 30 is only 64, so I still need plus 6 more relationship. So you could do another mission, those don't take 4 minutes, so that's plenty of time, but I wanted to show an alternate method to get even more relationship with the Grox. I'm going to finally fulfill this Traveler 2 badge and contact 10 empires so I can buy fireworks, so I can buy 6 fireworks and get plus 6 relationship. Each 1 firework counts as 1 plus 1 relationship towards using friendly tools. So now here, even though I'm going slow, I know it won't take too long, so now I'm in the home stretch. So all we had to do was pretty much use Fanatical Frenzy. We had to save and quit a couple of times to reset that cooldown, and then we did the 4 missions. We used the Gracious Greeter, and we also did you agree to help us by doing a mission, that's also plus 5. We gave the gifts for plus 10, and then we'll give plus 6 for the friendly tools. So I unlocked it. There's also another main reason why I wanted to use the Fanatical Frenzy on non-Grox systems, because they will for sure be able to sell stuff. They can only sell things if they are at least Terror Score 1, and if we use Fanatical Frenzy on all of the Grox systems, they're on Terror Score 0, so we wouldn't be able to buy anything from our colonies here. So I want to be able to buy at least 6. I know we use Fanatical Frenzy on 3 non-Grox. We had to use 1 on 1 Grox, I couldn't find a 4th one. which, 6 fireworks. It should be safe. Should get that up to 40, and then plus 30 from the trade route should get us to 70, which should allow us to become allies with the Grox. I believe while we're in the menu, it isn't counting towards that 4.5 minutes because the game is essentially paused. So I'm trying to buy them as quickly as I can so we can get towards that timer goal for that auto-scroller. It's an auto-scroller plus all the time needing to trade and pause. So each firework counts as +1. I'm clicking as fast as I can because I know the Grox ships are approaching. Thankfully I have a bunch of health, so they won't be able to shoot me down before I do all 6. Yeah, I'm not even really concerned. My health's dropping, but I got plenty of time. Not be concerned. You can still repair from the Grox. Since this will be exactly +70, I was a little concerned because sometimes something can, cool down. Like it will go back down. The gifts can wear out. Like instead of being +10, it will go down to +9, which will get us as +69, which is close, but not quite the 70 which we're looking for. So I'm just double checking if I can buy any more fireworks from my places. Once you unlock a badge of some kind, it usually refreshes the inventory, but I haven't unlocked anything since, so I'm just going to have to risk it and hope that nothing goes down, because sometimes also the friendly tools can go back down. So I want just one more extra firework just to make sure in case it went down. But still be able to ally them. So as we're waiting for the trade route to give us our +30, I'll give one more final recap. We were carnivore out of cell, we were aggressive out of creature, we were social out of tribal, and then religious out of civ, which is red, red, green, green, which gave us the fanatical frenzy as a zealot, which we then used to use 4 fanatical frenzies within 10 parsecs of the Grox for +50. We did 4 missions, so that was, I believe, +29, along with the +5 for helping us, +10 for gifts, +10 from Gracious Greeter, that is unlocked by being social out of tribal stage, and then 6 for the friendly tools, along with the trade route, which will give us +30. So that was how we allied the Grox this time. I'm getting a little antsy, so I'm just going to wait for them. So it's +20 right now for our trade route, and I see it's just turned green, and time will stop as soon as I click the ally button. And there it is, we are now allied with the Grox Empire. That is the end of the time, 55 minutes and 4 seconds. The real time, if you're interested, was 56 minutes and 57 seconds. That includes all loads, as if the timer did not stop. And for those interested, here's our final timeline. We were carnivore out of cell, staying down below. We were predator, or as aggressive as I was calling it, through creature stage, all the way through friendly or social, through tribal stage, and religious from civilization stage. We become a zealot, which gave us the fanatical frenzy. Already meet the Grox this early, and then we allied with the Grox, and then started every war in the galaxy. And then afterwards, I took a leisurely stroll and got to the center of the galaxy and met Steve. Thank you so much for watching. Again, big thanks to Andrey for suggesting this speedrun. Let me know what other speedrun challenges you'd like to see me do in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. I'm King of Valence, and I'll see you next time.